Hey people, so this is my first video in several months. Just a lot has been going on. I apologize for being away for so long and I'm extremely excited to get to filming again. This is my fourth and final look for my Harry Potter series and I am House Gryffindor, so I decided to do a Gryffindor on myself. And I really appreciate the 4 girls that let me do the other 3 houses. Did I say 4 girls? I really appreciate the other 3 girls that let me do the other 3 houses on them. 3 of them are mommies and they all work or have very busy lives, and so I really appreciated their time. It was really fun to get to do those looks on them, and they are all gorgeous and young, and so I really wanted to have their faces as my canvases. So House Gryffindor is really my favorite. I don't know, I guess I get a humble feeling from them, but they're also still flashy. They're all really good. Humble but good and flashy. I kind of get those feelings from them, and I'm sure people would disagree. I was trying to incorporate that into my look, and I don't know if I really did it. I feel like I did it. Oh, and I didn't actually do it in the video. I ended up doing it kind of later on. I took the red eyeshadows that I used on my eyes and the yellow eyeshadows that I used on my eyes, and I ended up putting them in my eyebrows. And I really like it. I took my angled eyeliner brush and took the red and I put it in my eyebrows, just tracing inside the shape that I have, and I kind of stopped right here with the red. And then I took the yellow and the gold that I put on my eyelid and I kind of put it in the beginning and stopped here, and I did that with both of my eyebrows, and I like it. I think it's kind of cool. This is just one of those everyday looks that you can just go to the market with, you know. Go grocery shopping. No one will care. So if you want to see how I came up with this look for House Gryffindor for Harry Potter, please just keep watching. Alright people, so we're going to jump right in. I had already primed my eyelids with the hard candy eyeshadow primer I always used and set it with a neutral shadow. First we're going to go in with the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, and I'm going to go in with these 2 neutral shadows called Silk Cream and M.E.O. And I just took my fluffy Morphe brush, and it's the M441. And I just took both of those colors on my brush together, and you're just going to buff that into your crease, not being too precise with it from the outer to the inner corner, just as your first transition shades. Let's hope I can get through this tutorial and be able to speak. Next, I'm going into the Jaclyn Hill palette from the Vault collection, the Armed and Gorgeous. And we're going in with this color called Secure, I think. No, I'm sorry. This is Access. And now we're moving on to a different Morphe brush. It's the Morphe M433. And it's more compact and precise. And this is actually a very light color. So you end up putting this more precise in the crease from the outer inner corner, and you're going to pack on a lot of it. It goes on very lightly, but it is the yellow shade that I wanted, and it was the only shade of this color that I really had. So I went back and forth and I packed on as much of it as I needed until I was comfortable with the color payout. And as always, in between each shade, I go back in with that Morphe M433 brush and I make sure that everything is blended well. Going back into the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, I am now going in to the color called Creamsicle and putting that on top of the Access color. Again with the Morphe M441 brush. It's got a little bit more color payoff and it's got a little bit more of an orangey color. I did not want things to be too orange. Gryffindor's colors are scarlet and yellow, I believe. And so I did not want things to end up being orange. I wanted to make sure that things were still goldy yellow. And so that's why I stayed away from anything that tried to stay away from anything that looked too orange to me. And again, I went in with my Morphe M433 color, brush, and buffed all those edges together. Going back into that Armed and Gorgeous palette, now we're going into that Secure color, which is pretty orange. But as you can see, nothing turns too orangey, I don't think. And I sort of buffed it into the outer corner there, but also into my outer crease. And I was just kind of gradually darkening up that outer corner there, because the next shade that we go in with is pretty dark. And so far, nothing we're using has been too dark. Then I went back in with that Access color, and I'm using the Morphe M433 brush and just buffing all of those shades together again, making sure, just in case, that nothing looked too orange. And of course, blending everything together and making sure that all of the edges are making sure nothing's harsh. Going back into the Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm now going into this color called Jacz. I put it on there and I was not happy with that as my Scarlet color. So I also mixed it with this Makeup Forever color called M-846. And when I mixed the two of those together, I was then happy with it as my Scarlets. Because again, their colors are gold and scarlet, or yellow and scarlet. I think the Jacz color just had a little bit too much brown, maybe, if that makes sense. I don't know. I guess I needed a little bit more red. I think everyone is going to see Scarlet, or see any color differently. I think anyone's going to have a different opinion on what they think Scarlet is, but in my eyes, I felt like I matched it pretty dead on for what I was looking for. And so I'm packing that on the outer corner with that Morphe M433 brush. And once I pack on the loose product, I would move it around, pack it on where I wanted it. And then I would go in with the Morphe M433 fluffy brush, and I would blend all of those edges together. I went back and forth several different times. It's very easy for the red to get away from you, so you need to be very, very careful. And it's also easy for that red to blend away when you go in and blend those edges together. So you may have to go back and forth and pack that red on several different times to make sure that you have the red intensity that you want after you've blended edges together. And I probably went in and packed that red on at least 3 times before I stopped packing it. And if I could go back and do it again, I probably would have used Shadow Shield for this because I did want a super dramatic, well, I definitely wanted a dramatic wing with this. I haven't done a tutorial in a while, so I wasn't really thinking, but I think this would be a lot easier if you use Shadow Shields. So next we're going back into that Armed and Gorgeous palette, and for my lid color, I am using the color called Guilt Trip. I think it is the perfect yellow gold color. And to pack it on, I am using another Morphe brush. It is a flat shader brush, and the number on it is M167. And I dampened it with water and packed it on my lid, and I thought it was the perfect yellow goldy shade for the colors for Gryffindor. When you put them both together, I just thought that they matched perfectly. I liked it. I'm sure other people may not agree, but I think they worked out really, really well. So I just packed those on the lid, and then I went back and forth, which you may not see with the red if any of it got blended away. Then I went in with a makeup wipe to clean up some of these edges. I did not clean them up all the way. I did not take them all the way to the corner of my eye as I normally would. I was just trying to get some of the excess off my face because my face was a mess. But we're going to do a wing. And so that's why I'm kind of leaving it still a little messy and still a little bit of a grace period there, because I'm going to use that to be able to clean up the wing that I'm also going to be doing. And you'll see what I'm talking about later, but it'll be helpful. Another thing that would have been easier if I had used shadow shields. So for my wing, I also had to track down an eyeliner that was, a shade of Scarlet that I thought would work well, and that was kind of hard. It would have been a lot easier to use a liquid liner, but I'm not going to use this a whole lot, so I was not going to go spend a ton of money on a liquid liner that I'm just gonna use probably this one time, maybe pull it out for a couple Halloween tutorials, I don't know. So I went to Sephora and I got this contour eye pencil, and it's in the color Aloha 52. It's a very good pencil. It's a very good quality and I loved the color. It's just that for a wing, I don't work well with pencils. I don't know if anybody does. So I did use, once I was done with the initial line, I would also go in with an eyeliner brush. The first one I used was the Pro Angled Liner 22 from Sephora to help me manipulate the liner and smooth out the edges and try to get that wing the way that I wanted it once I got the product on my lid. And then I would add more liner once I'd gotten what I already had the way I could. And then I actually ended up using another eyeliner pencil. This other one I used was the Sigma Small Angled E65 liner, just because it was a little smaller and I could control it a little more. Using that liner was quite a struggle. If you do use Scarlet liner a lot, or you think you will, I highly recommend finding a liquid version. It will be a lot easier to work with. But for this tutorial and the way that it turned out and the color that it is, it works just fine. And again, if I had used shadow shields, it would have made my life a lot easier. But, you know, you get out of practice on things and sometimes you just forget. And so here is where you see, that's why I left some of the excess of the eyeshadow on there, because I'm going to use my shadow shields and the excess eyeshadow to help me really get that wing crisp and help me correct any mistakes as far as how big or how unsharp that wing was. I really needed that without the eyeshadow shields. And so hopefully this explains to you why I didn't do the super cleanup in the first place. Next, I'm gonna do a glitter liner on top of the top edge of my winged liner. This is the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Liner in Midnight Cowboy, which is a gold color. And I just wanted to give a little bit more flair for my Gryffindor look. And I thought that this was perfect. So as you can see, I just did a top line of liner on that very top edge of the Scarlet liner. Next, we're gonna do a coat of mascara. This is the Huge Extreme Lash Mascara by Stila, as I always use. Still my favorite mascara. I'm gonna put a very good, and we're not gonna be putting any falsies on today, so make sure you put on a good coat. Next, we're starting on the face, and first I'm gonna be putting on the Matte Rescue from Benefit, the Porefessional Matte Rescue from Benefit, and I put that all over my T-zone because I have combination skin. Next, I'll be mixing the Tatcha Water Cream with the Drunk Elephant D-Bronzi Anti-Pollution Sunshine Drops. This stuff is awesome. It really does seem to help my skin. I don't know everything that's in it, but I've just noticed, you know, it really does give my skin some health benefits, and it gives my skin a very nice healthy glow. So it's awesome how Drunk Elephant skincare has made its way into my morning routine, my nighttime routine, and actually within my makeup routine itself. Next, I am using the Drunk Elephant's Umbre Tint Physical Daily Defense Protection. It's SPF 30, and I've been using it for the summer to try and keep any more sun damage off of my face. You can also get an untinted version as well, and it's very comfortable, and it just gives my my face a little bit more color. It doesn't break me out. It's not heavy. It's just awesome. And then of course I used my Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. I put that on top of all of that. And then next I'm using the Tarte CC Under Eye Cream Corrector that I always use. And I put that under my eyes to cover up my dark circles, which, I mean, you gotta admit that it makes a difference. And then I put that all over the brown spots that I got from sun damage and hormones. Next, I'm putting on my foundation. I have been using this foundation from Fenty Beauty. I love this foundation. It's amazing. You can make it as high coverage or as low coverage as you want. I use my Damp Real Technique sponge, and to keep from cake face on myself, I put the majority of it starting at the very bottom jaw area, and then I work up towards the inner part of my face so that you have less and less product coming inwards. So the heaviest part of your product is at the bottom near your jaw area. I do take a little more product and put it on my nose, but just my nose area, because my nose is an oily part of my face and it gets very red really easily. I don't know why. Especially when I get worked up, it gets red. I'm just a very angry, worked up person, I guess. I don't know. And then I take a little bit and I put it on my forehead, a little bit more, and I put it all on my neck, and let it fade out towards my chest area so that I don't have any line of demarcation, because it can oxidize a little bit. Next, I'm going in with the Fenty Beauty concealer, and I just put that on my under eyes when I am using foundation, because this is a very heavy concealer, and when I use foundation, I don't put a bunch of concealer all over my face anyway. I don't think it's very flattering on me, and I think it's very easy for me to look like I have cake face if I do that. Next, we're going to set this concealer with the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder, which is obviously broken, but still completely workable. And I use the Sigma Tapered Highlighter F35 brush to set my under eyes, and it's also another defense against the dark circles. Next, I'm going to fill in my eyebrows using the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Shape and Fill in Light Brunette. And I do this before I set my face so that if I need to correct any mistakes with the concealer, it's a lot easier to do that before you put all of the setting powder on your face. Next, I'm going in with the RCMA Translucent Setting Powder, and I'll be using that same Damp Real Technique sponge to do that. And I'm going to pat that almost everywhere on my face, especially anywhere I'm going to be putting more powder, meaning bronzer and blush. I don't put it into my smile lines because I feel like it makes my smile lines worse, but I definitely put it all over my forehead, my nose, temples, my cheeks, anywhere else, like I said, I'll be getting powder. Next, we're going to be finishing up the eyes. I'm going to be taking that Sephora eyeliner brush we used earlier and putting it on my waterline, and I'm going to also kind of bleed it down into my eyelash line as well, because we're going to kind of use that. Going back into that Armed & Gorgeous palette, we're going to go into the color called Access, and we're going to use this flat Sigma definer brush E15. And I'm going to use this to kind of smudge out the eyeliner brush. I'm sorry. And we're going to kind of use this to smudge out that eyeliner and also kind of have hopefully a yellow glow. Going back into the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, we're going to use that Creamsicle color, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Next, I'm going to go in with the Morphe E18 brush and coat it with that Access color, and we're going to smudge and smoke all of this out. Then I'm going to tightline my top water lines with that same Sephora Scarlet eye pencil. Now going in back into that Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm just going to give a coat to that flat definer brush, and we're just going to put that Jacz color on top of the lower bottom waterline, just to make that eyeliner last a little longer all day. And then just put an extra coat of mascara on the top lash line and add some to the bottom lash lines. So I wanted to go in with this Ofra highlighter called Star Island, and I wanted to use that for my brow bone and my inner corner highlight because it kind of had this very soft golden glow to it, and I didn't really have, well, I guess I just didn't really have another highlighting color like that. And so to use that in my inner corner, I used the Morphe E35, I think. I don't know. The numbers are slowly going away. But it was a very soft gold color, and I thought that it went really, really well for inner corner highlight. But then I decided to be a little extra, and I decided to use that Urban Decay glitter and put that on the inner corners on top of that highlight as well. And then the eyes were all done. Next, we're going to finish the face, and we are going to start bronzing. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Bronzer in Park Avenue Princess. And I'm going to be using the Kat Von D brush in number 4 to bronze my face today. And I just do that C-shape kind of a thing with the cheekbones. I go along my ear, and then I go along my jawline, also along my temple. You don't want to do your whole face. And using this brush, you end up kind of doing a very light contour just because of its size. I don't do a harsh contour on my face just because I feel like my face is already kind of skinny. It already kind of has a severe bone structure, in my opinion, and I don't think that a contour on my face is very flattering. Next, I am going to do but I am going to show you a contour just to show you how to do a contour for the most part in this tutorial. And I am doing a nose contour now, and I'm using an angled brush. This is called the Firma 202, and I like to use this when I do a nose contour. And they actually have contouring powders. For the most part, I don't think you want to use a bronzer, but you can. And so now I am using that same RCMA translucent powder to set my nose contour, and I'm using the Morphe E47 brush to do this. And then to carve out my cheeks, I am using that same Real Techniques sponge dampened, and it has a flat side to help you carve, and that's what I'm setting my cheeks with. And now I am putting on my blush, and I'm just using a big angled Morphe brush, and I'm using the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in Seduce, I believe, and I'm just putting that on my cheeks. Next, I am using my Becca Champagne Pop highlighter that I keep fixing, and it keeps breaking, and I keep fixing it, and it just keeps breaking. And I am using that as the highlight on my face using the Morphe M501 brush. And I'm just putting that on my cheeks, my temples, and I will put it on my nose later. Next, you're going to wipe all of that Bake loose powder away. And I'm just using that same Sigma tapered highlighter brush that I used to set my under eyes with. And then I used another clean brush just to wipe away the nose bake and to make sure that there were no severe harsh lines on my nose, just because that would be weird. And using that same clean brush, I'm applying that highlighter Champagne Pop to my nose. And then my Cupid's bow. Next, we're moving on to lipstick. I'm using this tiny little lipstick, and it's called Tannin, T-A-N-N-I-N, if that's how you say it. And I got it in this tiny little sample of like 4 different lipsticks, and it's this very dark reddish lipstick. Not normally a color that I wear. And I am using this tiny little pencil brush that I got from e.l.f. to distribute it on my lips. Again, it's red, so it could be it could easily get away from you, especially if you don't use it a whole lot, and especially if you have thin lips like I do. And I also overdrew my lips on purpose. I just felt like doing it. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But my lips are not very thick, so sometimes I have fun with it and I overdraw my lips for a look. Then I decided to take that Urban Decay Midnight Cowboy glitter and put it on top of my lips so that I had the scarlet and the gold going on my lips as well. Next, I am taking NYX Control Freak eyebrow gel and setting my eyebrows. And then we're going to set this entire face using the Urban Decay De-Slick makeup setting spray, and I use my handy dandy fan to set it all. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. I am really happy with how this came out. This ended up being the third look I did for Gryffindor. I scrapped the other two. I was so unhappy with how they came out. I was extremely critical with how they came out and how this looked. I guess maybe because I did it on myself, and also because Gryffindor is my favorite house. And as I said in the beginning, I did my eyebrows later. There was nothing to them. It's almost like they were subtle, but not. Like, you can't walk around with gold and, you know, red in your eyebrows and somebody's not going to notice. But at the same time, I'm not sure if anyone would have noticed if I hadn't said anything. But very happy with how it came out, and I hope that you guys like this look as well. You know, especially if you're a Harry Potter fan. But I'm sorry it took me so long to get this video up, and I can't wait to get back in the swing of things, and I already have other ideas ready to get back up. So I appreciate you sticking with me or stopping by, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.